Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. Hello, peoples. Welcome to Sharp Ends. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to take apart this Porcupine from Vosteed. Great knife with an awesome liner lock. You'll have to excuse a little bit of green paint on my fingers. I have been working on a project. Um, First off, this has all got the same hardware, which is absolutely awesome, T8. I'm going to take this apart. I guess I have to take it apart over here. So this isn't a button lock. So what's happening here, there's a liner in here, and I'll show you that, but there's no spring, which is going to make this fairly easy to take apart, and it's perfectly centered right now. For some knives, especially knives that I really, truly love, I like to go ahead and do a disassembly video right before I do a review so that I have like a really conscientious understanding of how the knife is put together. Absolutely love these brass looking fittings here, collar fittings. Don't know if it's actually brass or not. Hard to tell. And it looks like these backspacers are going to be locking backspacers, which is quite good. Makes it much easier to take apart. Do I need to take off the clip? That is the question. You'll notice here that I'm working from pivot back, and I'm kind of keeping the screws in order as I do this. I use some very nice bits and everything that you can find links for down below. Doesn't look like I'm going to need anything else. I have this like squeegee tool here that I like to just kind of pry a little bit. I don't want anything to go shooting out, and I want to kind of pry it off all at the same time, as well as being careful about the do I need to take that off? Really don't think I need to. Yeah, so look at, oh yeah, there we go. Just a little extra prying. You know, you just want to be really careful about this. Why disassemble a knife, or why have the tools for it? Well, obviously, um, some basic maintenance here and there, and helping with the making sure it's greased correctly so that it works nicely. And sometimes things will come apart and you need to fix them or whatnot. This lanyard tube right here, very tightly fit. This thing is machined very well. And now you can see in here, we have a stop right here. That stop is going to probably want to come out, and I need to be careful of that. And then we have bearings on either side here. This is, of course, 14C28N. And these bearings aren't the tightest to the pivot, but that's okay because the blade is. You'll see that these are both basically dry right now. Both the bearings are dry. And over here, you'll notice that this pin right here goes there, and that pin goes there. If I were to pull on that pin, it'll probably come out, and you'll see this liner lock is all one piece. Really like the milling that's done on the pivots here. And it looks a little bit dirty, so what we're going to have to do now is I'm going to take some isopropyl alcohol and some Q-tips, and I'm going to give it a quick cleaning, and then I'm going to put it back together again. These lines, this micarta is very nice micarta. I really like it. This is not a review. This is just me taking it apart. But I will say this micarta feels really nicely, and these liners are great. And these liners have a little bit of jimping along here. The edge, again, great machining. The liner lock itself is one of my favorite kinds of locks. Very, very strong. It's kind of, or the compression lock, I should say. It's kind of like a liner lock, but reversed and on top of the blade rather than inside the blade. And because they put a button there, it makes it very easy to use. Very and much stronger than an actual button lock, which is a great, awesome point. 14C28N can take a very steep angle. It was originally for razors. So as far as budget steel knives go, 14C28N is a great one. It will hold a very fine point. All right, so now what am I going to use to, there's a couple of different things that I usually do. I usually use Hops #9, or sometimes I use JPL Knife Pivot Lube, the light version for this. I'd want to make sure I do not get, and while I still have this wet, I'm just going to go ahead and get some alcohol on the detent ball right here, and the inside track of this guy here. I don't think I'm going to need to clean anything else, really. I want to make sure that I do not get any of the, this is basically the lock face right here. It's the lock face right here. I do not, and the detent ball, I do not want to get any kind of grease on that. So I just want the grease to be on the pivot and to be on the bearings. I'm putting a little there, putting that guy on, and then I'm just putting, and I don't want to use too much either, because if you put too much on, what happens is it will end up leaking everywhere and also trapping dirt. I mean, one of the points of greasing your knife or greasing your pivot here is that it will trap a little the dirt that gets in there, and then you have to clean it out. So it's one of those things that, you know, if you use a knife a lot, you're going to end up having to clean it. So I put grease in there. And I've put this back the way, and I've kept track of which bearing goes where, although if you end up losing track of which one goes where, it's okay. And I just need to put a drop here. I don't need to get a drop all along it, like I said. And now we've got everything in there. I haven't missed any pins, so now I just need to get this lock, or I need to get this scale back on here in a way that makes sense. I'm going to push down here. And, oof, and that went together really easily, he says, with hope in his heart. All right. So I'm going to tighten everything down, but I'm not going to over tighten it. I'm also not going to use Loctite in this pivot here. I could if I wanted to. I've stopped using Loctite almost exclusively, except for on screws that really want to come loose. I don't think it's necessarily needed anymore, and more can go wrong than can be positively affected. The other thing too is that it can Loctite can also melt or affect micarta and or plastics. It's not necessarily a good thing for them. And so I'm not tightening these down all the way because the pressure on the side of the compression lock might end up making the blade not centered when closed. So I might need to torque this, and having these all the way tight. I'm just doing it like snug, but not like tight here. Just see what happens here. All right. And now, of course, I'm going to need to open and close this a bunch of times to make sure. Oh, pretty much perfectly centered. Because I didn't grease the entire bearings, I am going to want to open and close this a bunch. I am rather impressed with how Vosteed machined this. Put it together, the little details, how nice it goes. That the T8 all the way around. The little machining dimples on here. I think it's a $60 knife. Very, very high quality in my estimation. Great knife steel. And just a little tight now. It's not quite like if I push the button and let it, oh, it is dropping shut. Maybe I do want to keep it that tight, or maybe I just want to come off of it just a skosh. That feels good to me. I like my detent to be medium. Don't like it to be too light. I don't like it to be too hard. It depends on the knife too. I mean, sometimes a knife has a light detent, but the way it's designed, it's okay. Or a hard detent, and it's okay. Again, sorry about the green. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. So I'll be doing my review of this now that I have opened this up, and we'll talk about it. So please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Really helps the channel. And as always, if you want to get a chance to win a knife of the month, follow that link down below. $3 a month, you will get a chance to win a knife of the month for becoming a Patreon member. And of course, thank you to my Patreon supporters. All right. Bye-bye now. Have a good day.